Hello, Internet. Gino, that Pinguino Grieco here again with another episode of Deep Listens, and guess what? This one's also a special episode. All episodes are special. I am back from some honeymoon-related missingness.
Debauchery.
I was gone. You didn't know that because we kept releasing podcasts, but that's the reason why we haven't had a new episode in 2 weeks.
Yeah, Gino could be dead for all you guys know. We're just still releasing content.
I'm really good at imitating Gino's voice, so I'm actually playing two roles on the same podcast.
And that voice you hear is Walla Billy Rothert.
My own voice.
Is Walla Billy Rothert.
Hi, everybody. My name is Billy Rothert, a.k.a. Rothgar. I'm happy to be talking about Oni, mostly because this game rips off like my favorite anime, so it's pretty great.
Is it the Ghost in the Shell?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, great. And we are also joined by Peter Wabu Wabu Busby. So, the explanation for that. When I was when I was in Port Douglas, Jen and I went on a tour of the Daintree Rainforest with some of the Yalanji clan, or tribe, over there. And they have a word for butterfly and dragonfly.
It's just one word?
One word for both. Everything you hate contained in one word.
Oh my god, that's awful.
Does it contain moth, too?
I didn't clarify on that.
That'd be the trifecta.
I think it's one word that for everything Peter is afraid of.
Good. Let's just lump them together and just burn them all.
That's fair. And we are also joined by a special guest for our Oni podcast, Alex Zandra Van Chestein. Did I pronounce that correctly? Last name?
Yep, absolutely. Yes. Hey, you got it. It's a long name, so you can just call me Zandra. That's okay.
All right, great. Zandra, you may know her from all of the Giant Bomb, Giant ROM sort of stuff. You may know her from Chariot and Oni speedrunning and a whole bunch of other stuff. And
I try to do everything.
And that one video with the making of the game very quickly with the dude who poops.
Yes.
Who snoops?
Yes, Stoops.
Yes,
that was
Steve Poops.
That like a Giant Beast Academy video. That's the thing I do in game design classes. Sometimes like my friends who teach will like call me in for like one class to say, hey, let's see like just if you're in a game design class, like lots of folks may not actually be making games. So hey, let's show how easy it is to make a game using like Construct, and then we just improvise a game together. And I said, hey, I was actually going to see Vinny and Alex and Dan to show off a game, and then we had no build because like hell wrought its wrath upon the production. But I was still in New York. Says, hey, you want to make a game instead? And Vinny was totally into it. And hey, we made something really nifty. And I would totally do that again because that's such a fun activity to do.
Yes, freeform video game jazz.
Yep. Yeah. Exactly. I think they specifically mentioned that. I think Alex said it's about the
biodigital jazz. I think was the quote.
But I get my daily exposure of Zandra from the awesome PAX Mania posters that are now in my room.
Oh my gosh! Really? That's so cool.
I actually bought the set because I wanted to have people think that I was cool and went to all of them. But PAX Mania 3 was my first one.
It was a real good one because also it's the first one I was up on the stage and I was like half thrilled and half scared, but that was great.
Well, there was reason to be afraid. People were getting injured.
People were tearing Achilles all over the place.
People were crossed up.
Oh my gosh!
No, but Pete, really, someone tore his Achilles in a stupid PAX wrestling accident. Terrible accident.
And it was like really just like nothing, no contact.
No.
It was just someone who was really excited. Yeah, just jumping
landed
for
wrong.
Joy, and then landed wrong and like tore his Achilles.
Bam.
Yeah, you know how Kobe at the end of his run, where he had nothing left. But then he took free throws with the torn Achilles.
Yeah, the torn Achilles.
Yep.
John Drake tore his Achilles and then performed for another hour in front of everyone with a torn Achilles.
Yeah.
It was basically the Michael Jordan flu game. And so that brings us to Oni.
Yes, speaking
of tearing Achilles.
So before Oni, before we get into it, we do have feedback.
Woo!
Shit.
I need a feedback air horn or like a feedback.
It would probably be. You should probably better have a feedback like.
That's pretty good.
Microphone noise.
That's
like the Doppler noise.
That's a great point. We will take that feedback into the feedback. We've got a couple of comments recently, both of them by someone who goes by Baba Ganoush, but with zeros in front of instead of O's. It's very clever, the internet.
Hey.
And one question, Pete, I think it's specifically for you. Let's go ahead and see this one. What is? He was asking, what do you think about NBA Jam, and why do you hate Guy Fieri so much?
I assume those are two separate questions.
Yes.
So NBA Jam, fine game. Sports games are tough. You can't always capture the whole range of things. But I think the game would be better. I think real basketball would be better if the ball's caught on fire. I will admit that.
That's why you got to play Mario 3-on-3, because you can turn them into like chain chomps and shit.
What?
You can turn the basketball into chain chomps?
Something like that. There was like Super Mario 3-on-3 hoops.
Yes.
Or something. I forget what it was called.
There's
but
soccer too.
basically that. Yeah. Mario Strikers with a Z, I think. I don't know. Something
Super
like that.
Mario Street, the most basketball of all games.
Man.
Yeah, I just do love the idea of Waluigi or like Donkey Kong throwing it down over people. But
I mean, they're just gonna get the SWAT. They're so lanky.
Yeah, Waluigi would be pretty legit.
did you answer the Guy Fieri part of the question, Pete?
I didn't. I don't really have a good reason to hate Guy Fieri beyond that he wears his sunglasses on the back of his head. Like, I think if either of you started wearing the sunglasses on the back of your head, I would immediately drop you as friends. I just want you to know that.
I'm glad to know that is the boundary of your
A
friend.
man needs to have a code.
All's fair in fashion, really. Like
That's true.
So now, if I need an easy out, I know how to just escape Pete.
Like, you're like, oh man, Peter is super bothering me that once every other week that I talk to him.
Just
I have an easy escape now.
Pete.
Yeah.
I have a panic button.
Exactly, and Billy, you have it on you at all times, though you would be blinded for a few moments while that's happening.
Well, Hannah, it specifically said sunglasses.
Oh, that's true. That's true.
Well,
So
Guy Fieri doesn't wear regular glasses.
regular ass glasses on the back of your head is fine.
Yeah.
That's fair. Okay, so second question, also by Baba Ganoush, Gan000sh. I like to talk about. So this was a comment on our PAX East 2017 debrief, and he says, "I like the talks about video games almost as works of art / reviewing their cultural impact. Are there any Renaissance painters that could be used to represent developers or companies as far as artistic content is concerned? Which developers will be remembered among gamers for their artistic / cultural contributions?"
Mm.
I mean, Shigeru Miyamoto, all by himself, will definitely.
Yeah, and probably Metal Gear Solid. Kojima will probably be remembered. We could probably also throw in,
For as weird as those games are.
yeah, it's the Hideo Kojima stuff. We can throw in Miyamoto for sure. Who else can we toss in?
I mean, just while you're thinking, Billy, my question about the question would be, do we think devs have the same sort of cultural cachet? Like, if you think about, like, Van Gogh, he sort of stands above. But when you reference games, it's usually not a developer. It's usually just by the gamer series itself. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but I think that is kind of a side effect of when games became popular and who they became popular with. I think as they are gaining more and more cultural cachet, knowledge of individual developers or creative people is kind of going up. Whereas at first it was not profitable to market people as individuals, whereas now we get a lot more, because of crowdfunding and stuff like that, there's a lot more name recognition of individual developers because they're the people who are coming to you and presenting their work. And
Like back when games were just like a thing you made, like it's companies literally hid the names and obfuscated the names of their employees just so they wouldn't be poached.
And one thing that's, I don't know if it's a counterpoint to that, but there have been instances where the name of the developer is what mattered. And I'm thinking about like Sid Meier, for example. You know, you put Sid Meier on a game now and it will sell almost regardless of the game's content.
Could be pirates, could be anything.
Could be whatever.
Tom Clancy is no longer a person.
Right. Tom Clancy is a brand now. The Splinter Cell and the Rainbow Six games are themselves a genre of game. And to a lesser extent, this is sort of pop culture right now. There was a game released on Steam back in February called Battleground, made by a developer named PlayerUnknown. And this person, I believe, I'm going to get some of these facts really, really, really close, but maybe not exactly right. This person, I believe, facts, it's more of an explanation. This person, I believe, was a modder of like Arma or some other FPS games to create battle royale style custom games where a person would get loaded in. You only have one life, and it's like 30 people on a map, and last person standing wins. And this idea was hard to implement in other kind of FPS games, but now this person, I believe the person's name was PlayerUnknown, like that's their gamer tag, has created their own game called PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds, and it's kind of blowing up on Steam and Twitch right now because it's a very, very well executed battle royale style first-person shooter. And that person, as the developer, I don't know if it was a one-man job, but it was in many cases that person's brainchild. So that's another example where maybe the name of the developer is going to have a real big impact on how that subgenre of first-person shooter evolves and develops. So when I think about PlayerUnknown and Sid Meier having these sort of really pioneer impacts on a subgenre, like I wouldn't call a Civ game its own genre. It's like a subgenre of like RTS kind of games. And I wouldn't call a battle royale game its own genre. It's like a subgenre of first-person shooter games. But that's an example of how a person could be looked at as sort of this cultural wellspring of a new like art style.
Yeah, but so much of it is also just marketing.
Yeah,
and
true.
Public perception, because like it is extremely rare and difficult to make a game by yourself, because there will be other people who are involved in one way or another, even when it's a small solo project. So it's not super fair to say, oh, like this is to compare to classical painters, but even then there's people involved who helped classical painters that we don't know about.
Yes.
Because history remembers, oh, that person was really cool.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that Leonardo da Vinci didn't necessarily build all of his own scaffoldings or make all of his own tools by hand, or
there were apprentices and muses and
all sorts of people.
Probably lots of alcohol, and someone had to crush those grapes.
Very true. So, when it comes to individual people, I think there are certain development heads that will definitely be remembered. The Tim Schafers, the Jonathan Blows, Ken Levine. There's a whole bunch of people whose names just kind of jump out. But I think that one of the nice things, like you mentioned, Zandra, is that I think now we have more of an appreciation for how many people are on these teams just because of how credits are given out, at least recently. And the availability of even members of the team that are not the front and center people. So we kind of get those stories from the trenches, from the non-studio heads in a way that we used to not. So hopefully, even if it complicates the kind of heroic stories that we tell about these different works of art, I think it will at least give a more honest impression of how much effort and time and work goes into this kind of stuff.
Oh yeah, totally.
That was one of my favorite panels from PAX, was talking about that kind of stuff, because I think that's one of the things that interests me the most about games. And so often, and I bet you guys, everyone who is a participant in the games community has had to defend themselves at some point. Like, why are you into gaming? Why is this legitimate? And we have to say, well, hang on, it's a real cultural medium. It's definitely legitimate. It's up and coming. You just don't know it yet. And now we're starting to make these connections that 10 years ago, and I was explaining to my dad, like, why it's okay to like games.
Yeah. It turns out that history, you don't necessarily convince people that your art form is legitimate. It's more that the people who didn't believe it, they just kind of die of old age, and then you are the cultural hegemony.
But no, that hasn't had enough time to happen with games, though.
That's true.
Because it's like a lot of the game industry has I missed the first few years, but most of it I've been alive for, and that's been a trip.
Yeah, it has. Holy shit, it came a long way.
That's true.
Yeah.
We're at the stage where game like award shows will be on TV, but instead of people showing up in like suits and everything, it's still here's the Doritos section or here's the Mountain Dew section, and then we're going to have maybe Sam Jackson come up and talk for a little bit.
Yeah, that's
we'll
especially that. I forget what the name is of that, but there's like I think it's Jeff Keighley's thing.
The Keighley's.
Yeah, and like there's a lot of that because award shows cost money.
Yep.
And that's kind of why also I really like the IGF awards and the GDCA awards. GDCA's like when I was at GDC, I love that. That's one of my favorite things about GDC every year. But yeah, these are lots of companies and sponsorships and stuff that go into actually producing this whole thing. Mm-hmm. And it is a big production but like yeah, this year also, hey, more and more I think they're starting to represent a little bit more of the gaming population, both in players and developers. And I think at least at those awards, I'm liking the direction where they're taking them. Yeah. So there's some progress being made there.
Breaking away from Spike, I think, helped.
The direction of games in general. It's just it's really, I mean, it's hard to think about it like that, but I think if we're going to start examining games, or if we're going to continue, in our case, examining games as cultural artifacts, we're on a great trend to do that. Because games are changing and growing so much that there's a lot of history that's happening right now.
Yeah, there's a lot. It goes into like it's I don't think it's ever been easier than it is right now to make a game, and distributing it is also getting super easy. Like one person can make a game and just publish it. A bunch of friends can get together, make a game, and do it. It's not gonna make like it. It's really, really hard to make a living doing it, but it's very easy to do it. And there's more and more people who, not having either because they didn't grow up with games and conventional gaming as we perceive it, or because there's just like enough of people now that we're reaching folks who have like different ideas. Like there's games that just don't follow, that break out of the mold in ways we didn't even think of them. And I didn't even think it was possible, and it's amazing, and that's like just so cool to see. It's like when more and more people have a voice, it's really cool what comes out of that, because you get so many more perspectives now than we did 10, 20 years ago, even 5 years ago. It's pretty amazing.
And Zandra, like, let me sort of run this analogy by you, because like when I think about this, and I mean, I work with people at my job that are 16, 17, 18 years old, and they're talking about how they're trying to learn Python at home just casually, or they're picking up like RPG Maker and just messing around with it on their computers.
Yeah.
And what I think about is flashback to music of like 70s and 80s. Getting into that industry, making it big was difficult, but starting somewhere could be as simple as getting people together in a garage band and making some music. And we almost have like garage band mechanics now. If you've got some downloaded software, you can start coding some things here and there. You get a couple people to work together on a project, and you could essentially garage band a game.
Yeah, totally. I mean, there are free tools where you could go through the whole process right now, put a game up on itch without spending more than the basic stuff you need, which is to say like computer and internet. Yeah, and like that's you still need that.
One computer and one internet, please.
In the same sense that when garage band mechanics were around, that made the industry accessible for those who wanted to just jump in and try a passion project. 15 years ago, you couldn't passion project a video game.
Or it would be really hard.
It was really hard. Yeah. Now there's a whole lot of distribution, and unlike the GarageBand scenario, now GarageBands also have like it's easier for them to put music online, but money's still real hard. Same with games, though. Games like there's places like itch.io which are not predatory, and Steam, if you can like eventually get on there,
if you can knife your way to the top,
helps. Yeah,
just knife your way to the top, and then you make the money.
Yeah, but even then, you have to make a really cool game. You have to make a wonderful product that's like really stands out in some way. You have to market it very well, have people who will like help like signal boost it, and you need to be lucky. You need all of those to make money, to make enough money to keep going. And that's what's like what stings of it is like you can do everything right and still just because bad luck it doesn't work out. And like for example, I worked on Chariot and we did the best we could. It was like there's still like lots of lackluster parts of that game, but I'm really proud of what we made. But it came out at a bad time where it was quickly overshadowed by lots of other games, and it's just it might have maybe done better at another time, but hindsight is 20/20. You do the best you can, and then who knows?
Also buy Chariot.
If you want to. I am no longer with the company. Also, even when I was, there was like absolutely no monetary fallback. No, absolutely not. So like but you should totally get it if you can, if you enjoy local co-op games, because I think we did a good one.
Yes.
Cool.
And so, thank you, Babaga00. Thank you for your questions. And that if you want to be like Babaga00, you can send us all sorts of feedback via a couple of different ways. You can go at DeepListensPod on Twitter, deeplistens.libsyn.com. We have comment sections, or as I just showed, we use those for those questions. Or you could send emails to deeplistenspodcast@gmail.com. So, without further ado, Oni. So,
yeah,
Pete technically picked this game, but this was all an elaborate ruse to get Zandra onto the podcast.
What? I was tricked?
I'm sorry.
Ridiculous.
We pulled the wool over your eyes.
I want to just
talked
pause
a big Oni game, but
for one hot second and said that when we went to PAX, I went to Zandra's panel.
Oh yeah, this was an amazing confluence of events.
I went to Zandra's panel, and Zandra just kind of casually mentioned that she was an Oni speedrunner, and I was like, I gotta go talk to that person and invite them on the podcast. And so I was so excited, and I approached Zandra, and I was like really nervous, like, oh man, I'm gonna approach a panelist. Do you want to be on my podcast, senpai? And then Zandra's like, oh, that sounds cool, definitely.
Yeah,
and then I
totally.
called Gino, and I was like, Gino, guess what? Someone's gonna be on the podcast, and he was like, yeah, I know. It's like I've been talking to Zandra for weeks. This is all part of the plan.
and in my mind, it was like, wow, 2 podcasts about Oni. What are the odds? Gosh, this is going to be great.
Yeah, the whole time I'm sitting there, and I'm like, oh, come on. This can't be.
I didn't know.
Yeah.
Gino didn't really fill me in very much on that.
That's fair. That's fair.
Oh, Gino's just some Machiavellian character in the background of our podcast, just manipulating all of us.
All the pieces move.
I thought I'd done
the pieces move on their own. So
anyway, it was cool to meet
now
you.
It has come to fruition, the full circle to Oni.
Man.
Yes.
So Billy, do you want to do what you do?
Yeah,
and describe Oni? What is Oni?
Oh, nice.
So you work for this police force called
TGIF.
Yeah. Sorry. So this game is called Ghost in the Shell, and you play. All right. So real talk. Oni is set in the sort of this weird pseudo-apocalyptic future cyber world where there's some environmental problems going on. The status of civilization is that there are these environmental hazards that make most of the planet uninhabitable, but through the use of these environmental giant conditioning machines, certain pockets of civilization are sustainable and healthy to live in. That's sort of the environmental context. Bring in our protagonist, whose name is Kanoko.
Yep.
And Kanoko is sort of this cybernetically enhanced, not enhanced?
Well, it's not cybernetics.
As far as everyone knows at the start, she's just a person.
Oh, just a person. Okay, cool. Just a person.
There's no actual mention of cyborgs.
Well, she's got some sort of implant in her head to talk.
Yeah, maybe I got that part wrong.
Oh, you're right. They do have subdermal communicators.
Yeah,
that is totally technically a cyborg then.
She's something special.
Well, we're all
this really cool police force. At the start of the game, you're given just a general task to investigate what I believe are terrorist group activity.
Yeah,
that's what your
syndicate.
First. Yeah, the syndicate is your first mission. Just, hey, these guys are doing something bad. Go investigate.
Go kung fu them to death.
When
Yeah,
the
this is
syndicates ever, like, do
this
big
is
things?
literally like Kanoko's first field assignment ever, and basically it's, hey, we have a person on the inside at this like small place. We haven't heard back from him. Go check.
Check it out.
Yeah.
So yeah, I guess you're right, Xander. Like that's when you get to the real game. The actual beginning of the game is like a 45-minute training tutorial.
I've got it
Combat.
down to 7 minutes 35.
All right.
That's the quickest I can make it. It's so long.
It's the worst.
Does it
tutorial.
involve watching that other trainee get the shit kicked out of him by a robot?
Yes, Karen G. You speedruns are at the mercy of Karen, and just like she needs to win or she needs to die. Either way, she needs to do it quickly. And if she dies, you need to actually not be looking at it.
Because there'll be
when
like a
it happens.
cutscene.
Yeah, because Shinatama's going to be like really sad. But if you don't see it, it's like it
poor
doesn't happen. So you
Karen.
skip that part and you just keep going.
Schrodinger's
So do
Karen.
you just kind of wait at the door and you don't actually know what happens? You just see.
I know, depending on what Shinatama says, we know. So like the quickest way technically is for you to start looking at the look Kanoko, Karen's going to demonstrate some cool move. Cool. Turn head, walk away. And then if Karen dies quickly, hopefully in hard mode, because enemies are tough and they didn't plan this at all, then Shinatama just skips to, okay, next you need to do like this escape maneuvers, because she's not going to say okay, now we'll get to do these things ourselves, because Karen ostensibly didn't do any of them because she died.
Great.
Imagine you're a trainee too. Like you're about to go on your first mission. The person they show you dies.
Right?
Yeah, you're gonna do basically that.
Well, it's your fault for picking hard mode.
Yeah, true. Actually, because all the enemies are stronger. But yeah, like the tutorial is cool because you learn the game, and it's also like, oh right, this is how this strange game works, and also you can't remap any of the controls. That's just how it is. You have to live with it. But you do have your little sister robot Shinatama narrating, and she's like super nice. So
the controls aren't that atrocious.
Imagine playing
this game in 2001. People said, wait, you move with the left stick, you aim with the right stick, and you attack with the triggers? What kind of movement scheme is this? This will never work. This was in 2001.
I mean,
now today it's like, oh yeah, sure, of course that's how it is. But
like Halo Combat Evolved came out in like 2002 or 3.
Yeah, this is their next game. Yeah,
like
so this is Bungie's project pre-Halo. If you are a listener and you are not familiar with the history of Oni, this was the thing that Bungie, the Halo people, were doing before they made Halo.
Technically, this was Bungie North, but there is absolutely communication between Bungie and Bungie North, because there's talk of rampancy. There's some elements that port over, so you see, that's definitely a Bungie game.
Because the stuff that happens with Cortana is there's crossover between Cortana and Shinatama.
Yeah, there's a person there's a voice in your head telling you a bunch of stuff and paying attention.
They definitely high-fived about some of these game concepts.
Then so I guess we can talk about the controls as a good place to start, because that tutorial, man, it takes so long. And the controls are really unique, like this type of stuff that they're asking you to do. It's a third-person action game, but they have a kind of elaborate combo system and fighting system on the two right triggers. There's a punch button, a kick button. You can also combine that with like ducking and jumping, and then you can also like jump and front flip in the air. That's an attack for some reason.
Hang on, what platform did you guys play on?
I played on PS2.
I'm on PC.
I also played on PC, so the controls are a little bit different on PC.
Okay. Yep, you use a mouse.
I like that a lot better because you can like look really fast.
Oh, that sounds great.
That is incredibly necessary in some of the skips I do in the speedrun.
That sounds.
I think if I'm going to get this right, Xandra, let me just make sure. I'm going to try to preemptively guess a speedrun tactic. You have like a slide move, and can't you like slide but like turn around real fast and like get on some like ledges that you shouldn't be able to get onto?
You can do that by jump and somersault. When you crouch while jumping, it basically makes you somersault, which means you can reach platforms that are just a little bit higher, because technically it kind of lifts your collision and for like a moment, and that lets you reach some places. For example, there is a unless Do you want to like go through the story real quick?
Let's go through the story real quick. Let's go through the regular way to play it, and then we'll go into breaking the game down. Because
yeah. So I'll pipe in with like some. Oh, and in the speedrun, this is what you do here.
Okay. Yeah, cool. That sounds.
Because like the first level, when you're like just okay, Chang, our undercover person, isn't there, hasn't checked in. Go find him, help him shut the place down, or shut it down yourself. Go. And speedrun is just do this as fast as you can and ignore every single enemy. There, I think I killed two strikers in the entire level because one of them is required for whoever he's beating up to actually open the door for me.
Yes.
And the other one is sitting in front of a console I need to access real quick, so it's quicker to just kill him and then step over his corpse and then like tap on the terminal. But since the taunt button and the activate button are the same, sometimes I'll just step over his corpse, taunt the terminal a couple of times, and then finally punch in the buttons to finish the level.
And that was what I was going to talk about with the controls, because you've got these punch kick buttons that at least on a controller on the PS2 are the two right triggers. You can switch to gun mode by pressing in, I think, the right stick, and that takes your gun out or puts it away. And then the left trigger. Oh no, when the gun's out, right trigger becomes shoot. But the weird thing is, none of the face buttons, other than the X button, really do much on a PS2 controller. Which punch and kick, I'm not used to those being on the for a third-person action game. I'm not used to them being on the triggers. And it actually screwed me up a whole lot of times. Just like trying to do punch-kick combos, I'm used to kind of in a Street Fighter way, square, square, triangle, or something like that. And so because I could not remap any of the controls, the game always felt weird to control.
There was no bumper jumper in Oni.
No, they hadn't figured out. That like changing control schemes, modifiable control schemes were good. Also, they hadn't figured out that like there's a reason why a whole bunch of different games use the face buttons. Like they're there for a reason. Which made controlling the game just a real chore in spots. Like,
man, this was so easy on PC.
Yeah. That's it. Yeah, it was strange. I think I derived my favorite control scheme from Oni. Because it felt supernatural. All the buttons were just how I always use them. So I guess I just remapped them to the Oni controls in other games.
It honestly felt like a MOBA to me in some spots. Because like when I'm playing, like I'm playing Battle Right a lot these days, and that one just has like your basic attack, your like heavy attack on mouse 1 and 2, and you WASD control, and then your abilities are on Q, E, R, like F. So like. It was so natural.
It sounds like you're playing a different, better game than what I was playing.
It's because you're right.
When Shinatama was like, yo, snap this dude's back and neck. Most enemies can't survive this. I couldn't execute that move.
Gino texted me and was like, how are you playing this game? And I was like, I don't know. Like, I'm just, like, the secret is just throw.
With hands? Like,
yeah, like, but literally also, like, I stopped using my gun because if you want to get good, you just run at them and you snap their neck.
The like, because there's like those are throws. Like if you throw with a punch, you somersault over them and throw them forward. If you throw with a kick, you flip them behind you. But if you throw them from behind,
you like snap their spines.
Yeah, the punch from behind, the from behind punch is a pile driver, but the from behind kick throw is the backbreaker, and that is the bread and butter of the speedrun. You need to collect as many spines as possible from everyone. It
insta kills any enemy up through like powerful. The first 2/3 of the game.
Yep, it's real hard to land because enemies will usually rotate to face you. So it's all about figuring out when they're locked into an attack and then tumbling behind them and doing them, or managing to like catch them unaware. But when you land it, gosh, it's the best.
If you throw them, they stand up, and if you can catch the timing just right as they stand up, you can just like initiate it again really quick.
Yeah, it depends. Sometimes they'll stand up and roll towards you. Sometimes not.
They do like a dodge roll.
They want to protect their spine so bad.
Yeah,
that's my spine.
What I like about the guns though is that their ammo is really scarce. So guns are just like, oh, cool. In certain circumstances, they can be good, but if you have your gun out and you get knocked down in melee, you'll drop it. And that gives a chance for someone else to pick it up. So like guns are mostly like kind of like they're kind of temporary powers. Like, okay, I'm going to use this gun here, and then dump it, keep going. And what's something I'll do a lot in the speedrun is you run, you slide, and if you slide into someone's legs, they'll fall down and drop their gun. And if you're sliding or...
You can pick up items.
You can pick up items.
During the slide animation.
Yeah, so I'd slide into someone's legs, cause them to drop the gun, immediately pick it up, and just keep going. So that way, that person's not shooting me in the back when I keep running because they're gone. They're no longer needed. That Oni speedrun is like go to a lot of terminals and activate them and keep running.
So I saw someone do a Mirror's Edge speedrun, and it made me think about doing this in Oni, and it worked. Like, I didn't look up how to do this in Oni. I was just like, I wonder if this works, because it worked in Mirror's Edge. But in the Mirror's Edge speedrun, instead of doing the animation, like press a button on the elevator or something, that's like a slower animation. If you like slide while doing it, it'll just cut the animation short, so you can like slide through items and pick them up, and it keeps you moving while keep going, and it works the same.
What made you think these analogies would work?
There was no reason. I just saw it happen at Mirror's Edge.
Oh, like, man, this works in Tetris. Like, I wonder if this is going to work in Oni. Like, I should try this out.
I just said, hey, fuck it. Like, why wouldn't this work?
Yeah, but anyway,
to be fair, I was expecting like to be able to sneak up on people from behind and snap their necks.
You can totally do that.
That was totally
that's great. I need to sneak in the entire speedrun. I sneak twice. Once if I'm in a good health position at a specific level. But you can totally sneak if you want to. It's not fast, but sometimes it's the fastest thing.
You can also just kind of run past enemies and just kind of zigzag.
All the time.
Just serpentine.
Can I get a like maybe 2-minute ISO on the PS2 version to gripe? Because I feel like we can then talk about the nice things for the people who didn't have to play the PS2 version.
I want to interject once before you do that. It's going to be real quick. Something else that I thought... Quick. Something else that, for Pete's point, he asked me why would I think of that because it worked on some other game. The game that I will be announcing as our next game, because I think it's my pick, I thought because there's a technique in Super Smash Bros. Called crouch canceling, I just thought, what if that would work in this weird, obscure other game too? And it totally fucking does. Nice. So thinking
Gino,
that
why don't you start
a weird mechanic might work in another game, it's a legit strat.
Pete, did you also play the PS2 version?
No, I played PC.
Oh, fuck, I was the only one. Okay, so that explains a lot why you guys had a better time. So, first off, the game is incredibly dark on the PS2. I couldn't see where I was going most of the time.
Tonally? Oh, okay. You're talking about light. Gotcha.
Like actually light. I couldn't see where I was going. 2, there was immense slowdown anytime there were more than maybe 2 or 3 enemies on screen, and heaven save you if they had a gun. Or if there was glass being broken. If any of those things happened, the game slowed to like 30 or less frames. It got very framey. The controls with the bumpers constantly causing problems. I couldn't do throws like on a regular basis when I was trying to. Now, to be fair, I'm sure there are people out there who have figured out how to play this game better than I, but I was not that person. So
there's at least 3 of them here, but
I was having a whole lot of trouble. You didn't play it on a controller, though. You don't even know. Let's see, what other big problems did I have? I mean, some of them were just with my TV, just like getting darker because it was audio in instead of HDMI or something like that, but that is unique to me. Other problems with the PS2 version of this game? Well, there's just problems with the game where the enemies, their guns, they have infinite ammo and you do not have infinite ammo.
Yeah, each enemy has a specific amount of clips to use. Yeah, and a lot of them have a ton. There's one place in ACC Interior where there's a guy who will there's like a giant room where you keep circling around it as you go up and up and up, and there's a guy in the ground floor who will just keep shooting at you through all 5 levels and just, hey, I got clips for days. I'm just going to always shoot you every single time. And like, I'm on level 5 running around. Yep, he's still trying to hit me. He's still like, no, I'm going to do it. Guys, look at me. I'm going to get... No,
Lucky number 19, lock and load.
Yeah, pretty much.
Let's go.
This Uzi, this is what's going to do it for me. But
like he's been carrying around his whole life, and like today's the day. Like
it's been stockpiling.
Yep.
Yeah. So that is a big problem. That was a big problem for me. Was just the ubiquity of enemy bullets. You can't take very many, especially from the Uzi. So I was just running around trying to play the game, and I'd run out of ammo almost immediately and then drop the gun occasionally, and an enemy would walk up, immediately reload the gun, and then kill me to death.
Yep.
It was
that happens.
That was very frustrating. The taunt button also being the use things button, like you mentioned.
Yep.
There were a lot of times where I wanted to talk to someone, and I was just, ha ha ha, you're going to lose to a girl.
Gosh, I hate the taunt so much.
Just every time. I don't know why there's a taunt button in the first place, but I don't know.
I'll tell you why there's a taunt button. There's an in-game exploit for the taunt button. There's a fight where you can, like, jump up on this, like, cliff if you take the dude's gun, so he has to melee you. And then you can taunt, and so you put, like, your hand on your hip, but you can still shoot while taunting. So you, like, shoot straight down. So you can, like, jump on this box, and normally you can't get a good angle to shoot straight down, but if you taunt and shoot, and that was an accident, but you can taunt and it like puts your hand on your hip, but you can shoot straight down on his fucking head. And cheese out the fight. I think it's one where you're in this like thing, but there's like 4 like air conditioning units you can jump on top of, and if you take their gun or like disarm that person, then you can just like shoot them while standing on the air conditioner. Clever. It's not fast. But it's cheesy.
Because there's like the Mukade fight that's what I do. But I'm getting ahead of myself. So I do any other cool PS2 things.
Those are all of the things with the PS2. I couldn't get very far in this game on the PS2. It was mostly very frustrating. Jumping, holding down the jumping, controlling the camera. The camera, just the latency on the camera and like the control of the camera. It's very swimmy, and I had trouble just like lining up shots. Actually, it's not swimmy. It's almost too fast. I would have liked to have dialed down the sensitivity. I had real trouble training. Like, there's some auto aim, but if the auto aim wasn't working or if something was at distance, I just couldn't line up my shot. There were plenty of times where, because your character doesn't move, you don't move like Doom Guy, where you just kind of move the same speed regardless of what direction you're moving. Kanoko has a slightly different run animation depending on which way you're moving, backwards or forwards or sideways, and different speeds. So sometimes the right thing to do is to angle the camera so that Kanoko is always facing forward instead of, running to the side. And so a lot of the times I just had trouble controlling the camera and my character at the same time because they hadn't figured out how that was supposed to work quite yet. So, like, I think it was like the basic jump puzzle that Shinatama tells you about. Like, hey, you could jump through this window if you want. And I just couldn't. I just couldn't line it up. There were a whole bunch of jumping, like very light jumping puzzles that I was just like, well, guess I can't do these.
That's also fun fact. When Kanoko is dashing forward, her speed is fluctuating slightly depending on which frame of animation she's in. And when you jump, that locks your speed. So there are a couple of jumps in the game where if you need to jump on the right frame to clear the jump.
Of course.
Because
nice.
It's like real nail biters, but when it happens, it basically turns a 30-minute level into a 3-minute level.
Bet?
That sounds like a dream. So let's with that out of the way, let's go ahead and just go through the story real quick. So Spoiler Town, Oni.
Yep.
If for some reason you want to play Oni, I guess you can play. You should.
Good luck finding it, but you should.
Yeah, good luck finding it. Mine had a Blockbuster Video sticker on it.
Yeah,
nice.
Which was pretty great. So, Oni,
I feel like Zandra's the better person to give us the actual story.
Yeah.
Oh, I will totally.
Please
get
explain
in there.
the story.
But you gotta do the speedrun version of the story. So like,
I'll
lightning round.
Yeah,
right.
I'll start. Yeah, so basically
2 minutes on the clock. Go.
Yeah, but okay, well, it's like actually 2 minutes, but yeah, this is in the Hasegawa Lab micro talk, but I'll get into that later. But basically, you are Kanoko. You are ostensibly have been like training with the TCTF, the Technology Crimes Task Force, for a bit, and now like the game begins basically after like your training. Like, okay, first field mission, let's go, and then go help Chang or figure out what's happened. Anyway, like go into this factory and beat up a bunch of folks, and you have your superior Griffin, who's totally like the
Aramaki.
He's totally the cop, the head of whatever a police force
Section
they have.
9.
Yeah, he's
Ghost in the show.
Yeah, he's the ghost.
He's got the sideways gray hair and everything.
Yep. And so basically, your destiny is controlled by two old men, Griffin and Kerr, and Dr. Kerr. And
Steve
basically,
Kerr. Yes.
I don't even know what his first name is.
Let's just assume it's Steve.
All right. Steve is actually Steve is the pet name I gave to one of the Red Strikers that makes my life hell in the run. But basically, yeah, you have like head cop Griffin, who's like, all right, Kaneko, like, go in there. And basically, he's always checking in on and talking cryptic things with Shinatama and Kerr, because apparently Kaneko has something going on, but like, and just basically, this is a trial run. We're going to see if she can hold her own. And you get there and you just beat up every single person. There's a couple of folks who actually like are happy to see you, but the Syndicate's thugs are just like all the way up in there, and you just basically beat everyone up in the factory. There's a truck that's about to leave, and you use a crane to like stop it, and it's really cool. And basically, you learn that from like Chung's last message before he died, which he conveniently had clutched in his hand.
Just
written in blood on the floor.
Yeah, pretty much.
Nobody thought they'd take it. They're like, yeah, whatever.
Yeah, it's basically you learn that, okay, there's like, from what we understand, the Syndicate's doing a big thing in this other place. It's real close. And Griffin says, all right, cool, come back. And basically, Konoko talks her way into, no, send me over there now. It's because we need to catch them like while this is happening. It's like, all right, go ahead. And basically, level 2 is go into this big place and beat up everyone too. And also,
I think you can say that for all 13 levels.
Yeah, that's pretty much it.
I'll skip that. But basically, level 2 is like, actually, you know what? I'm gonna open up live splits.
I think.
Yeah, I'm gonna open up live splits so I can have my level names. Yes, manufacturing plant. That's where the Syndicate's doing something big. And yeah,
what a great name for a level. Manufacturing plant.
Manufacturing plant. You go in there and there's like you do the actual like. There's one of my favorite characters in the game, Agent Thorson, who walks up and says, excuse me, man, I'm Agent Thorson. And Konoko just cuts in like, we're here with the TCTF task force, and we're here to catch you unawares on illegal technology. Like, she's so into it. She's so pumped to be doing a bust. And basically, like, the secretary, like, pushes
Is this like the receptionist at the desk?
Yeah, she just pushes the silent
I was hoping
alarm.
I could just kill her, and then you get to...
Yeah, no, and you see behind the scenes, like, there's just like this weird purple-haired, like, pretty boy, Muro, who's like talking to Kratos Lightyear, this like giant white skin.
Lightyear.
Yes, basically, yeah. If the name Kratos Lightyear brings up an image, that's this guy. It's Kratos in
like
a spaceman
God of
suit.
War, but Buzz
Yes.
Lightyear.
Buzz Lightyear
Yes.
armor.
Oh
Yes.
man,
That is good.
Is that like the speedrunner nickname for him?
That's the name.
Officially?
People
Nice.
in my chat have given him, and I love it too much now. But
It's
yeah, that's
actually called like his name was like Barabbas or whatever.
Yeah,
His real name.
Barabbas.
Okay.
Which
Yeah,
is a weird name to pick.
he's a huge dude in power armor that has a jetpack on it, and basically, like, it's all Barabbas is like, all right, I'm gonna crush him. And Murph says, no, there's always like, just be careful, don't actually die. And he says, all right, but you don't actually get to fight him. You just do the whole level, and then you turn out that the boss fight is against a deadly brain, which is some sort of like big
the
AI,
deadly brain.
an actual giant brain stuffed in the machine, and there's like all these lasers, and you basically have to dodge lasers and do everything. And basically, the whole thing is like, it's a wild goose chase. Like, yeah, you were sent there. Like, maybe the Chung message was faked. Basically, you were sent there as a diversion. And the deadly brain kind of locks you in, so you have to defeat the deadly brain to get out. And once you get out, then you just run to the other place, the Bio Research Lab, where the real stuff is going down. And that's already like, it's another level. All of the levels have civilians under attack, and you save them from the Syndicate. But this one, basically, you fly into on your bike, and Barabbas is waiting with a giant laser gun. And the level begins with a boss fight, and you just fight it out with Barabbas at the entrance. And by fight it out, I mean you kick him in the face until he falls. You
then
go
sweep him while he's down.
Yeah, and then you kick him in the back until he hits his face on the wall, and then you break his spine twice, and then he's done. And then he does the thing where like, all right, you're too strong, bye.
Peace.
And he flies away.
Barabbas out.
Yep, and the whole level is basically, okay, you just go through this place, and you have to, like, there's this thing where, you have to, like, open up all the doors on the level because everything's on lockdown. And then you have to go to the roof, and then you like see there's a whole like lots of like they introduced the enemy that blows himself up with a cutscene where you kind of like push him into like a mezzanine to open up the way so you can drop down and meet your backup and keep going. And but really what you're supposed to do, like
give the Covenant back their bomb.
Pretty much. Yeah. This whole level is you're trying to like track down Murrow, who's like the head of the syndicate.
The only other purple-haired person in the entire game.
Yeah, which is just a weird indicator.
Yeah, totally. So you basically go through lots of stuff, big vats of acid, and only to burst out of the door and see him like driving away in a van. So you just rush after him, and that leads you to the airport.
Most nefarious of all vehicles.
A van.
Yep. And the speedrun version of the Bio Research Lab is you come in, you beat up Barabbas, you go in, you hope that Captain Useless on the second floor actually unlocks the door for you, because his scripting is when you reach the second floor, he's the one who unlocks all the doors in that level. And you need to open all 3 levels to reach the roof. But sometimes he'll just walk up to the terminal, look at it, and then walk back out and never and that costs like 10 seconds or something on the speed run. So like that's every time it's like, oh please, Captain Useless, this is the day you're actually going to hit that. And as soon as you reach the top, you use a little thing called like I forget what the actual name is. I just call it like overheal, where if you heal up, like you could heal past maximum health, and when you do, you start to glow and you gain like more damage and more resistance, and it's scaled.
Powers.
Yeah, it's like you can go to 100% health, and there's like an extra 25%, and the more of that you have, the more resistant and powerful you are. And that applies to all sorts of damage. So while you're on the roof, you just run over, pop an overheal, and then jump off the roof and land into the activation volume that starts the cutscene that ends the level. And because you're resistant to damage, you survive the fall. So the whole level takes 3 minutes. You skip most of the level just because, that's when you start a level, everything is loaded. And the thing that if once the code that says once Konoko goes through this door, start the end cutscene, well, you can just jump in from the roof and you're good. And that's done.
There's a skip like that in a Psychonaut speedrun where like you mash his face through the wall enough that it like clips into the boundary and you activate a cutscene.
Yep.
You just like mash Raz's face through a boundary until it triggers a cutscene that makes the door open.
Yep, and in this case, you just fall off the roof and have enough health and resistance. And it turns out also that, like, after each level, Tsunetama kind of keeps tabs on you and lets Griffin know, like, oh, her Deodan latency is, like, holding at 39 and so on. Because basically, like, you've got something going on. And when you heal too much, you start to glow and you're super powerful. So
and you just kind of glow occasionally just for no real reason. You just glow purple.
Sometimes after a level, you go Super Saiyan, you're like, and you glow like you're Highlander or something. But anyway, you reach the airport.
I just want to say for the level design, they love civilians giving you things. They love it a whole lot. They
That's
really
how
enjoy
you get the stuff.
Nondescript corridors.
Nondescript corridors. They hate textures. And they really enjoy having...
No, they really, really love some textures because they use them for everything.
Yeah, from what I understand, like... development was strained, so there were some corners that had to be cut for the game to come out, and you can see like music. They really had to. But I love the music.
When there was only like basically 3 enemy models in the whole game.
Yep,
but they're color coded.
They're color coded, so you know.
Comms Trooper, the Fury, 2 different big guys. You have the tanker and the big guy. And
I was hype when we got introduced to like the boxer dude.
Yeah, tanker's great. Can't top tanker, and everyone has
such good shouts.
Yes, they have
Striker Slam.
They have special attacks, and they shout out the name Static Fist, 10 Shadow Punch. It's so cool. Everyone's just like so happy, so into their character. Like, I'm gonna do my special move.
I want to be that voice actor.
Yep, it's. I love this game.
All right, we need you to say Striker Slam in 8 different ways. Striker Slam!
Nailed it.
Striker Slam!
We're keeping that one. Nailed it.
And
checks in the mail. They also very much enjoy consoles, just any kind of console. If you can hit 3 to turn on 3 different lights, love it.
Yep.
Can't get enough.
That's a lot of.
Honestly,
you have to hit these 3 things, and then you can.
This game felt like a Doom game.
This felt like a mod. It felt like a mod of some other game. I don't know what it would be, but
it's probably Mirror's Edge.
Because if
it's a retroactive mod.
Throw back to like an old like Wolfenstein or Doom kind of mod, that whole game is basically different textured enemies that throw different fireballs at you and pressing buttons to open doors.
Yeah, and also like lots and lots of like wrestling moves. But it's like it's in that weird spot, and like 2001, we're like, okay, we're sort of like learning to do cool things with games, but also set in some old ways. But it's a really neat mishmash.
Yes.
But anyway, you get
a cultural artifact.
Yeah. Yes, I love it.
It's a cultural artifact.
You get to the airport, there's like 13 people there, and like the syndicate is just attacking everyone, and you basically make your way through the airport. You pass
no
by
Russian level. This is clearly what the Russian level from Call of Duty was inspired by.
Oh, absolutely. And and basically you're tracking Muro throughout all of this, and this level, the airport is split up into 2 levels because it's so big. And the first level is just, you enlist the help of a maintenance worker to be able to like access a place that's been cut off because like of explosions. And you're always like delayed a little bit while trying to catch up to Muro.
We can't overemphasize how much each of these levels look exactly like each other.
The airport assault and airport cargo hangars, the next level, they're very similar. The airport assault, I don't see a lot of it anymore because I just finish it in 3 minutes. Because once you get to the tarmac, which is this fenced-in area with planes that have their engines running but no runway and no way to escape the tiny fenced-in area.
Yes.
It makes you wonder, how the heck do they even get in or out of this place?
They were spawned here. This is where they live.
Pretty
this
much.
is where they die.
Pretty much. Like you can go to one of the corners, jump on a box, and do a running jump and somersault over the fence, and you're out of bounds. And you just run around the entire fenced-in area, and then you get to a place that was clearly never meant to be reached because part of the geometry is missing. They just never filled that in because you can't see it from inside the fence.
Great.
And it turns out that place is where the level ends, which you reach from the inside. But they didn't make an outside of that corridor because you only see it from the inside. So technically, there's no outside. So you just take a flying leap off of the edge of the world. And if you do it on the correct frame and you get enough speed, you jump over like a big gap and you land inside of the corridor that ends the level because there's no collision, there's no visuals. Technically, from the outside, the wall doesn't exist until you enter it. And as soon as you cross into the corridor, then from the inside you can see the wall and you're stopped and you're prevented from leaving.
Oh, that is another thing.
It's never technically there because you don't see it from the outside. So you just jump into the end of the level and you're done again in 3 minutes.
I don't know if this is in the PC version as well, but when you are anywhere near like a wall, the wall often fades out of existence and you can see through everything.
Yep, this was before they kind of nailed camera behavior. So the camera doesn't close in behind you when it's up against a wall. It's always at the same distance. It just makes the walls transparent. So you can kind of get a peek by making certain walls transparent. But it also means that there's some collisions that no longer work depending on where the camera is, and that gets some play later. But yeah, again, in this, if you're seeing the outside of the end corridor, it doesn't exist. So you just walk in and
they do some really similar stuff like that, Zandra, in Legend of Zelda Majora's Mask speedruns, specifically in the Legend of Zelda world where you are the Deku scrub in a swamp or in another part of the game where you clip out of a level and you have Deku scrub mechanics hopping across water that doesn't actually exist, and then you just pop back into some other part of the level because the wall doesn't exist on that side.
Yeah, that's what the second level of the airport. That's what that is. It's basically just now you're doing more airport stuff, but it's outside. You're fighting across some like containers, and you're reaching like going up and down and into tunnels that have all these like laser defense systems that activate like murder gas if you set them off, and it's like really, really tricky. But I never see any of it because at the start I do a grenade jump by borrowing the grenade launcher of someone, and again overhealing, so I survive it, and it just lets me skip into a place and I just run under the whole level.
And we bring it back like, full circle to Halo with grenade jumping.
Exactly. You just run under the level, you see everything, and at some point you pick your position. Here you look up, which makes the floor disappear, and you jump up through it because it no longer exists. But as soon as you're through it, then it starts existing again, because from your point of view, it's now you're from the other side of it, so you see it. So now you're inside again.
Now, at what point do you find the Insomniac Museum?
Oh, go ahead, Billy. You go first.
At what point in the game do you find the Insomniac Museum from Ratchet and Clank when you clip out of the level?
I don't. Oh, but that's the thing. Any level, sometimes they'll swing back to TCTF headquarters, where Griffin is really like, Kanoko's like getting pretty high on that Deoden stuff. Like, is she still controllable? Like, no, she's good. And that room is somewhere in the level, because there's no loading screen or anything. So like, if you're in a level, like, okay, somehow there's that little TCTF office that is placed. There's just the camera to it. I'm kind of curious. I would like to know where that is so I can see if I can clip into it. Because somewhere in the level where they go back to, they're cut back to Griffin's somewhere in there. He's in this room.
That's how they make the game. Like, the room is somewhere.
Yeah, totally. Because they load the entire level and then they never load it again. Because like when you start, at the beginning of a level where you're at the top and you have to make your way down, you can see every single enemy and item. Everything is there. Not all the enemies, because sometimes they're spawned by you reaching certain areas, but the items are always there. There's a level where you can totally see, oh yeah, there's that ammo clip way off in the distance. I know where that is. I'm going to get there in like 20 minutes.
Wow. And so I guess that raises... I'll ask when we talk more about the speed running. If you could just find Griffin, snap his neck there, do you think it would just warp you to the end of the game? But
not in that level, because there's like, because a level has a what ends the level. And in most of the levels is reach this spot. In airport cargo hangars, eventually you grab a zip line and you reach a certain spot above the Syndicate's like VTOL plane, and then you activate the cutscene. Konoko drops on the plane, pops a tracking beacon, and then runs away, and then we see Muro go away, and then okay, cool. Konoko managed. She didn't catch Muro, but she popped a tracking beacon. So now the TCTF is going to know where the Syndicate headquarters is. But before they can use that information, Muro kind of like got some dirt on Konoko, because Konoko's like running around the cargo hangars, and Muro learns that, that agent that's been following us around and like killing everyone, she's got a second set of subdural transmitters. So she's probably wired to an SLD. And you learn this by like reading the terminals, but basically there's this thing where they will take a scan of someone's brain and make a robot person out of it. But that robot person is usually like developmentally like stunted, more like a child. And that they're kind of working out the kinks of that, because it's weird technology, but they're getting there. And Shinatama is basically that. She's your little sister, kind of like patterned after you, and like she's there to help you, and secretly she's there to keep tabs on you. Yeah, pretty much, to make sure that like you're okay. And that's why in the next level, TCTF HQ, Muro comes to steal her so he can learn what's up with you. And TCTF headquarters is my favorite level in the game. It's a giant like multi-level building. Konoko is just driving back to work at night, because of course she is, in her bike, and she sees like a Syndicate van bust in through the entrance, just like smash everything, and then the panic the panic shutters come down. So she drives and slides her bike on the ground so she can just make it slide into the garage, and then showtime. Level starts, and the level is basically you come in through the garage, you fight your way through all of the building. It has like maybe like 10, 12 levels, just all the way up, and of course, you're too late to save Shinatama because Barabbas is in there and just like yanks her from her place, and she's kind of like wired to like this big communication hub, and the whole level is you run up, you get some help from allies, because also the great part about this level is this is police headquarters. You have like fellow TCTF officers duking it out with syndicate strikers.
I'm sure that would have been great on the PS2. I'm sure that.
Oh, absolutely! It's
perfect.
great. Like you can like you there's a fighting going everywhere, and it's not all about you. You can like help your friends. You can like recruit some battle buddies sometimes, or in a speedrun you just leave everyone to die and just run. But
makes it really easy to collect spines when
yes,
the enemy's facing someone else.
Yes, that's the best. And like you basically make it up to the top, to the roof, and that's when you see like Muro like making leaving in a helicopter with Shinatama, and Barabbas stays behind to fight you because of course he does. And that's where you actually get another fight against Barabbas, but this time you kill him. And the great thing is you're on the roof. You can toss him off the roof.
Yeah.
Then you hear and he just jetpacks back on and you go like, oh right, he's got a jetpack.
Does he take damage from being thrown off the roof, or just the damage from the throw?
Just the damage from the throw, which means you really don't want him to fall off in the speedrun because it takes so long for him to jetpack back on. But yeah, you beat Barabbas, and that's when you have your first like Highlander moment, like rah! And basically that's the point where Kanoko goes, okay, I'm going to get Shinatama back. There's a little scene where Griffin says, I'm your commanding officer. You are staying, but like, I don't care who you are. She's my friend. I'm going after her. And
my little robot friend who we don't really know what their relationship is other than Shinatama talks to her sometimes, but
pretty
much,
whatever. Yeah.
It's fine.
So yeah, no, it's
they love
cool.
each other or something.
I always think of her as a little sister. And
I mean,
that's where
I think that's what the game wants you to think, but to be fair, they do like none of the work. Other than Shinatama occasionally telling you, go to this place, Kanoko. Kanoko, be careful.
And just to make Shinatama like kind of cute, like.
Yeah. Oh yeah. She's got a little sailor uniform, a little like ribbon. She's adorable.
Yeah, they watched a lot of mid-90s anime before they made
this. This game is a bunch of folks in North America going, you know what's cool? Ghost in the Shell is cool. Let's make an anime game, and they really did. And yeah, after the TCTF HQ, you go to the Atmospheric Conversion Center. Again, split up into two levels, like the exterior and the interior. And it's again like, it's a huge thing where you're starting to like need to activate or like temporarily deactivate a bunch of these great like lightning rods that you run over. So you have to deactivate them and run around while they're not like coursing with electricity because you don't want to die.
That was kind of miserable, actually.
A lot of this is kind of miserable.
I skipped most of that level now because, again, checkpoints work that if you walk into a specific like rectangle, then it checkpoints you and remembers everything you had. So Oni is one of those games where you can get hosed by having a really bad checkpoint that you can't re-checkpoint. So you might have to restart a level entirely because it just saves us every time. But yeah, so in this level, since you start at the top and you make your way to the bottom, there's a few steps where I will just jump off the roof and land into the checkpoint. It checkpoints me. I die because I slam into the ground from like miles above. But then I just reload the checkpoint and it reloads me there with none of the
bad stuff.
No, none of the bad, none of the speed. I just respawn like a foot off the ground. I land and I'm good. So I do this twice to skip a bunch of it, and including a cutscene where basically you see Muro torturing Shinatama to figure out like everything he can about Kanoko, because she's obviously like a very dangerous asset that might happen to have purple hair like me. What's up with that? And
the line where he is like electrocuting Shinatama and is like, I can't believe they left you pain receptors.
Yeah,
but I'm glad they did.
Glad they did.
Yeah, that's I really like skipping that cutscene now that I know how.
It's just the most I mean, I know that they're trying to do a whole lot of character work and story work with as few lines of dialogue as possible. And so everyone has to be just the most ham-fisted.
Yeah.
Yep, every single endearing character in the game is hurt or killed in front of Kanoko to motivate her.
Yes.
This game loves fridging so much, and it really it's not the best.
And even the like random people you save are like, I have kids, don't. It's like,
yeah.
random civilian man. I don't care about you or your life, but I guess you're gonna give me a hypo or something.
Yeah, and and also like if there's fighting in front of them, they'll cower, and there's no way to tell when they'll stand up and give you the thing. And in a speed run, it's the most infuriating thing. Like, no, stop cowering, get up, give me the hypo. I need it to do this next jump. Come on.
There are plenty of times where they turn civilian life into a purely transactional thing, just so often. And I don't know, do you actually get the items if you kill them because they drop the items?
Nope. I need to check, but I don't think so.
There were a couple of times where I just saw items near bodies, and I was like, "Oh, was this an item that I would have had to talk to them for? Because then it might be just faster to beat the crap out of them."
I'll need to check, because that case that would save me some time. But yeah, the basically you meet up with Shinatama, and she's like too hurt to move, but she tells you like, "Okay, here's the deal. Your name is not Kanoko. You are my Hasegawa. You're an entirely other person, and I was made from like your brain scan. I know I have all of your memories. I know everything that you might have forgotten and everything. So like, hey, bad stuff is happening. You need to like
self-destruct."
Yeah, pretty much. She's interrupted by Griffin back home going like, okay, she's like dangerous now, and can you, like, what can we do? Okay, well, we have her scan. She's right next to Shinatama, and Shinatama's giant, incredibly powerful self-destruct bomb is primed in case you were wanting to do that, by the way. And he says, yeah, okay, do it.
Are we supposed to understand that Shinatama and, like, Kanoko hang out? Like, that they will be near each other?
Outside of work.
Outside of work, they're hanging out, getting drinks. Like, what? When is the time that you're going to use Shinatama's self-destruct bomb?
Yeah, well, I'm assuming it's like, in case she gets like caught in enemy hands, then you probably need to use it. But then wouldn't Murmur have known that? But yeah, basically it says, okay, blow up Shinatama to kill Kanoko, because this has gone too far. Kanoko can't be contained anymore, and Shinatama like can't stop it, but she can delay it. So she gives you a countdown, and then you like run away and go through like the rest of the ACC building, and you kind of realize, the Syndicate has kind of like been messing with the atmospheric conversion centers. That's weird. And near the end, that's when you actually meet up with fellow TCTF members, and that's the point of the game where you realize, the TCTF are enemies now. Now everyone is fighting me, and you just barely make it out alive of that whole place
by doing a naked acid bath.
No, that's not fair. That's later.
That's the next.
Yeah, really?
You just head into a giant fan and catch a railing, but the TCTF officers chasing you don't, and get like chunked.
But there's no indication of how you escape after that fan activates.
No, she kind of like shimmies off to the side, so I guess
does it show? I don't remember that.
Yeah, but yeah. So basically, also, in that level, Griffin like detonates Shinatama, a TCTF asset, to try to kill you. And one of the TCTF officers activates the fan to try to kill you, but in the process also dooms the other officers who are in there with you. So in that level, you get an idea of, by the way, TCTF officers will totally kill their own if they have a chance of killing you with them. And that kind of sets the stage for the next level, which is regional state building, where, Kanoko's gone rogue. She's wanted. Now there's like messages everywhere. Have you seen this woman? Catch her, and so on. And basically, you kind of now know, my Hasegawa, what the hell? So Kanoko is going to the regional state building, which is the most generic name a building has ever gotten.
I don't know. The biomechanical research labs are pretty...
I know, but like it's the regional state building. Which state? Which region? We don't know. It's just a generic like stuff building with things.
Region and state.
Yeah, and you basically get in there. There's like actual like guards already dead, and there's a ninja that you see like make like just zoom off in the distance. So basically, you're already in trouble because now the guards think you're the murderer.
Cyborg ninja.
You have to chase a cyborg ninja through this whole place, go to the archives, find information on who you are, but then the ninja steals them.
He's a ninja hacker.
Yeah, he's a ninja hacker. He puts that on the disc and leaves, so you chase him up to the rooftops.
You know what? That's the most unbelievable part of all of this, that he puts it on a disc.
He puts it on big CD.
Yeah.
He drops it after he dies. The CD's totally fine. You've just been kicking his ass for like the past half hour.
Yep, and like you go up to the rooftops. There's like these great big... You get to fight alongside giant TV screens, and that's my favorite part of the level because it looks so cool. And you're fighting now. There's ninjas now. The Syndicate has ninjas, and you're fighting them, and it's hectic. And you get to fight like this big cyber ninja who's dressed up in if someone who really liked the xenomorph design in Alien wanted to do a cyber ninja suit. That's kind of how it goes, and that's a big long fight. And then you kind of get the feeling that the ninja you have some sort of innate relationship. You kind of you always know where he is. You kind of feel him. So Kanoko feels like, okay, why do I have this telepathic link with this ninja? What's happening? And that's what you learn afterwards. Because after that, after the rooftops, you go to you get the information and you go to the lab of Dr. Hasegawa. And also the regional state building, that's a 30-minute affair, again, with one of those, do the 3 terminals thing to open up the 3 lights on this door and keep going. But an artist ostensibly decided to make the front of the building have diamond-shaped windows. So you beat up the 2 guards at the start of the level, you grab one of the guards' guns, you shoot out some of the windows, and you stand on the frames because they're physical. They have a collision. And since they're all diamonds, you can step on the frame and then jump and use quick camera movement to do a U jump to zigzag up the windows. And then you just look up, the roof stops existing, you jump through it, and you're on the roof, and you just jump to the end of a level because the level ends on the roof.
Wow.
So this whole level takes maybe 2 minutes.
That's amazing.
It's my favorite part of the run just because it used to be this great big hassle. Now it's I'm just going to jump on the roof and leave. And you go to Dr. Hasegawa's lab, which is basically where you learn the big thing about, the outside of the world is deadly, toxic, all the plants kill you. And you learn that, okay, your parents were your mother was an activist and really active in social social sciences. Your father was a
scientist or something like that.
Yeah, exactly. Man. Science man. And basically what happens is, okay, you have this thing inside you that makes you
the chrysalis.
Yeah, the Deodan chrysalis. Basically, the thing is, and that's where the biggest science
proper noun.exe.
That's it. This is where they honed their skills.
Yes, it's the silliest thing is that, what is that? Well, the chrysalis is a hyper evolved clone of the person it's implanted in. Wait, how do you hyper evolve something? Oh, it's not important. Basically, when you get hurt, you heal, but the chrysalis makes it so that when you heal, it's your hyper evolved clone that heals in that spot. So that's why Kanoko heals quickly with medkits, just pop and you're good. That's why you get the overheal because you're hyper evolved stuff. And basically the thing is that every level, as Kanoko does the Highlander cheer and stuff like that, she's more and more of her is being replaced by her hyper evolved clone because she keeps getting hurt and healed and hurt and healed. So she's getting stronger.
How do you implant a clone of yourself in yourself? Is there a tiny Kanoko that's in her tummy, just running around when she runs? Is it?
That's an excellent question. Anyway, you go to the lab. You learn that in a big cutscene, and when I do the speed run, I can't skip this cutscene. It's 3 minutes long, so I just do a micro talk during that part of the run. During the rooftop segment, I'll ask folks to suggest topics, and then when it goes to the lab, I'll just do a micro talk on that subject, and because it's good practice, good public speaking practice, and then. Great. You get a dream sequence. You get to fight it out with Muro, and then there's tiny little enemies. Yeah, tiny enemies, invisible ninjas.
You're whack-a-mole.
Yeah, you're chasing a weird tiny Shinatama around this weird dreamscape, and you get to fight Griffin, who's really angry at you, and the level ends basically with you fighting yourself, a dark Kanoko situation.
Oh no!
And basically you basically fight, you're Maya Hasegawa who's trying to figure herself out, and you get to fight Kanoko, the TCTF agent who's out to arrest you because you're a rogue agent and you're there's a warrant out for your arrest and so on. So basically you do this whole you defeat yourself and you wake up, and then you go to my favorite name level in the entire game, the TCTF science prison.
Oh, not the science prison.
Where science goes to jail.
What happened?
That's the place with the acid vats. It's basically a giant lab where they ostensibly evaluate the bad science that went to jail, and there's like this whole big room where they dispose of it in these big acid vats and crushers and everything.
Konoko,
and basically,
you broke the laws of physics.
Yes,
you got to go to science prison.
Now you get melted.
Oh, you're going to science jail, and yeah, this level is like incredibly difficult. It's where runs go to die.
Is this where, if people lose in science court, if you remember that TV show, is this what happens? This where you go?
Yeah, you go to science prison.
They go to science prison.
Also, the beginning of that level has these giant cryo tubes that really look a lot like the beginning of Halo.
Yep.
So like you can oh yeah, that's Master Chief there, bye, and you just keep going, and the whole basically in that level you go meet up with Dr. Kerr, who says, okay, I'll explain everything, but first you need to light up these 3 lights outside of my lab so you can gain access to it. And there's a reason, but basically you just go in there, and then there's a super long cutscene, like 3.5 minutes, where he puts you in this great big machine and scans you and says, okay, your chrysalis is like really getting along there, and he explains everything to you. And then a TCTF guard comes in, tries to shoot you with a sniper rifle, and he jumps in front of you and dies. And now you're angry because that's what the second, third person you care about that's died in front of you.
Basically, your last friend at this point.
Pretty much, and you just
now you're actually motivated.
And now you have to like basically it's the goal is okay. I'm at the point where I'm healing super fast, so I can escape this place by diving into the final acid pit, and the acid won't be enough to kill me before I heal like the damage it's causing.
Yep.
So it's basically a great big escape, and you have to jump into the final acid pit, because if you jump in an earlier acid pit, you go through the crushers and those kill you.
Okay.
And that's a really gruesome death, by the way. There's an animation for it and everything, and it's
wow.
But yeah.
And then someone got to have a great time. They drew the anime lady's clothes all dissolving in acid.
Yep,
that's a grand old time with that.
Yep. In the speedrun, this is where runs go to die because we skip the Kerr cutscene. There's a way to sneak in from the other side of the room, just activate the terminal, and then run away, and the cutscene never happens. So we save Kerr. We never see him die, but this means that like most of the level is done with no checkpoints, and you have to fight multiple guards who have like the grenade launcher that can one-shot kill you if they hit you with it, and it's all incredibly stressful. Like the final TCTF officer with the grenade launcher, I usually call Sergeant Run Killer, because he's the final obstacle. If sometimes he'll just jump into the acid pit by himself, and that makes me super happy because I don't have to fight him. But other times it's like, okay, there are many enemies who can just kill you if they want to, and it's a big stressful part. But after that, we're good, because we go to TCTF Regional HQ again, because now we're armed with the knowledge. We know that it was Griffin who actually had the chrysalis implanted in us, because he basically, like, after Konoko's parents died, he's okay, we have this child. We'll inject the chrysalis in it. And also because, like, the Hasegawas had 2 children, twins.
Oh, no.
Muro was, and basically Kerr took Konoko and Muro to the Syndicate to protect them, because they had no money, no anything. So they went there, and that's when Kerr helped develop the chrysalis with, like, Dr. Hasegawa's notes and stuff like that. But the Syndicate kind of like took Muro for themselves, and Kerr just ran with Konoko to the TCTF because they had nowhere else to go. So the TCTF says, all right, fine, we'll take you in, but you're going to implant the chrysalis in Konoko too, because if the Syndicate has a human super weapon, we're going to have a super weapon too. So Konoko was always this bargaining chip, this backup plan in case Muro became a superhero.
Like, you see Muro, and they try to immediately kill Konoko. Like, the plan is...
Who knows why?
The thing that she did to, like, disobey them was like, I'm going to go try to stop the dude who you kidnapped me so I could stop. And they're like, no, we told you not to stop him.
Yeah, it's because I think, like, technically Griffin's whole thing is that, okay, Konoko is my bargaining chip. If Konoko becomes independent, then I have to kill her before she's turned against me. And that's kind of how his mind works. I'm guessing that's his motivation. He's a real dirtbag. And the like next to last level starts with you just dropping in from the ceiling and putting a gun on him. Like, you're like, I need answers and I'm going to get them now. And he basically reveals that his entire office is an elevator.
Yeah, who builds an office elevator?
With skylights and like windows all the way down.
Do you think he, like, during the day just kind of drops down to lower floors just to see how people are doing, what they're up to, and then goes back to his top floor?
He has to, yeah, because basically he just elevators down to the basement, which is like this super big security vault, and he locks himself in. So you can just jump down. You can jump down after him, but you die, but you totally do land in that room and see it. But you basically have to go through the whole level again in reverse and do a bunch of stuff.
I think he'd have to use that thing to check in on people just to justify the expense.
Yeah, like the whole office goes down. So, how's it going down here? Working? Yeah, sure, absolutely. Yes. How's the big defense? Yes. God,
I don't need to kill any of you guys. No one needs to die today. All right, good stuff.
Keep it up. Anybody got to go to the science prison? No. All right. I guess that means we met our quotas.
How's the syndicate? They suck, boss. They're doing bad stuff.
All right. Well done.
Yep.
We need to stop this.
I wonder if there's a way you can like cheat out that cutscene and just ride the elevator down. That would be so great from a speedrunner perspective. That would
be so good because like there's I think usually when a cutscene starts, you're kind of locked in. You can die in a cutscene. There are a couple places where you can die in the cutscene, and that's because like if there's this thing that hurts you in the cutscene, it still does damage. But like so, there's a cutscene like at the end of Atmospheric Conversion Center. You're kind of running out on this, again, one of those like big lightning poles that you have to switch off the lightning on. But you can just leave the lightning on it and just overheal and just muscle through it until you start the cutscene. But as you start the cutscene, there's still lightning there. It's still going to hurt you for like a couple seconds. So you can die during the cutscene, and when they cut back to you, you're just sprawled out on the lightning pole, dead. And then it just fades out to the game over screen.
Great.
So they actually planned for that. So yeah, it would be great to ride that elevator because that's a long level. But it's cool to just go back down it again and just do stuff. There's like the speedrun is fun because you can like skip a bunch of it. You can just like do lots of acrobatics when you just keep basically going down as far as you can. And then at the end, there's this weird little doggy door that just flips up into the ceiling, and you get into another Deadly Brain fight. But this time, they resurrected Shinatama, put her in the core, so you have a harder Deadly Brain against Shinatama-controlled security system, and it's pretty hard.
Whoa. This bomb was strong enough to kill. They were going to use this bomb to kill Kanoko. It was that good of a bomb. It was a great bomb.
Yep, absolutely. And it destroyed everything except for
the person who held the bomb, who housed.
Yeah, most of Shinatama survives.
The person who was the bomb.
Yeah.
Yes. Most of
the bomb survived. Nothing else did.
The bomb survived.
Her casing's beat up. There's just like a bit of her skull and torso left, and also her little ribbon. Perfectly fine, not even singed.
Well, she has to still be cute. I mean, that's
pretty much.
What is worse, if the bomb didn't blow up the ribbon, or if they put a ribbon on afterwards? Like they found her and she's just like, no, I don't feel the whole.
Well, she needs her ribbon back. Let's get R&D on a new ribbon.
Yep. So basically, the whole thing is like you're doing the Deadly Brain fight, but Shinatama's like in a weird cyber-y voice keeps apologizing to you and asking you to like make it stop, and it's the worst thing.
I'm a monster.
Once you finish it, like basically you disconnect. You activate the terminals. You disconnect all of the.
Don't they turn into like smiley faces or hearts when you?
They turn into her face.
They turn into her face. Like at some point, like Griffin went to R&D, says, "Okay, resurrect this SLD android, hook her up to this place, and also
but in our basement."
In her basement, and make all these terminals that kind of monitor her. Make the splash screen her face. Why not? Might as well. Just for all time's sake. And yeah, once
we know what it controls.
Why did they build a death trap in the basement?
I think that's like
where do you keep your death trap, Gino?
That's a great question.
In the pantry?
Ostensibly, that's the vault. So like that's where they keep the important information and stuff. So like it's assumed like that's just a security system that saves our backups. but also we just decided to hook up this android because she knows you better than anyone. So now she's going to be able to defeat you because she knows exactly what to do. And of course she doesn't because you're the protagonist. So you switch off everything, and then basically that frees her. So she's just a torso attached with like cables and like big like and like these big like thick metal cables, and she rips herself out and uses the cables to like walk over to Griffin to try to kill him, and he shoots
just said,
her
like,
down.
Daddy, or something
Pretty
just
much.
extra horrifying.
So basically Griffin kills her. So not only do they kill everyone Konoko loves in front of her, they bring
Kill
one back from the
twice.
dead, kill her again in front of her. And basically while Griffin's busy doing that, Konoko snuck up on him and brings him to the ground, takes his gun, and basically that's the point where the game says, okay,
you get one choice.
Yeah, are you going to get your revenge on Griffin and kill him, or let him live? And that's going to determine the final fight afterwards. Well, no matter what you do, the level ends, whether you're merciful or just righteously angry. And then we go to the Syndicate Mountain compound, which is somewhere off in the mountains. There's snow, and Konoko, in like full-on overcharged glowing mode, like flies in from the sky and like cracks the ground when she lands. And that's how the level. Yeah, that's how the level.
3-point landing, nailed it.
So you break into the Syndicate compound, you beat up guards. There's like, you at some point steal one of the trucks and ram it through the gates to get into like the inner workings, where there's like this giant room with like giant pillars of electricity and stuff, and you just have to run around and like activate 3 terminals, so 3 lights come on and another are open. And once you're in there,
as cool as some of this stuff is, the game design in this game might be some of the most generic I've ever seen.
There's good game design. Level design, I think, was maybe, it's sign of the times and also strained resources. But yeah, there's a lot of that, and you basically get to the end where you ride the giant like satellite dish to the roof where the final battle begins. And basically what happens is Konoko gets like access a bunch of terminals, reads up on stuff, and basically there's okay, Muro has the chrysalis technology. Obviously he has it in him. He's worked out how to put it in others. What he's going to do is he's taken over and modified all of the atmospheric conversion centers of the world to basically, from their mountain compound, send a message that will make them all work in reverse and make everything super toxic and make all the cities immediately unlivable. And what he's going to do is he's just going to sell the chrysalis technology. Hey, here's an injection that will let you survive this hellish world we've created. Buy it. I'm the only seller. So that's how he's going to like control everything.
Take over the world, basically.
Pretty much. So Konoko, yeah, he's like
do bad guy stuff.
He's the world's biggest nihilist as usual. But like the Konoko says, okay, well, I can't stop this. I can't go turn off every atmospheric conversion center. But what I can do is take whatever message this is sending and put it like to 10,000. One below 10,000, just 99999 go. And what this says is basically once you reach the roof and the satellite dish activate, it sends this huge pulse of energy that's basically going to overload every atmospheric conversion center in the world. So instead of them going in reverse, they're going to blow up. So bad stuff is going to happen, but it's just not going to be as fast. So humanity is going to get some breathing room, some time to figure out how to save themselves. But before that, Muro is in the roof too, and basically that's where the final fight happens. Either if you save Griffin...
into the final fight?
Kind of.
Cody shows up.
Yeah.
And you just kind of spin around and punch, and it causes this like infinite loop of just turning and punching.
Yeah,
he was in science jail.
Yeah, and if
he broke out of science prison. That's why he's in that jail uniform.
Yeah, and if you decided to spare Mike Hager's life, he comes back to fight with you and help you. Yeah, and so either if you save Griffin, he comes in with backup, and Muro has backup too. So basically, the whole end, the final fight is you and your buddies versus Muro and his buddies, and everyone's fighting, and the fight
basically
ends.
Like the Warriors. You just kind of meet up on Coney Island with your boys and like just duke it out.
And you just basically, as soon as Murrow dies, that's time, and the game ends, and you see the ending. But if you killed Griffin, then when you get here, there's no backup. But also, mysteriously, Murrow shows up with no backup either. And what he does is he transforms into Imago Murrow, which is like the last stage of the Chrysalis transformation. So he basically turns into like a Dragon Ball villain who is like 4 or 5 meters tall, has like big spikes out of one arm, and starts to just like ripple with electricity. Yeah, pretty much. Shoot laser beams, hit you. He's invincible until he like discharges lasers, and then you can hit him a little bit. It's a big, long fight. It's the only fight against that you're fighting something that's not human-sized, and it's really hard. I always save Griffin in the speedrun because fighting Murrow just turns into how I defeat Mikage, which is basically you backhand Murrow across the face so he falls to the ground. And then I bring a Hell Rocket launcher to this place. I call them Hell Rockets, but they're like this. They shoot like homing.
A disco ball?
Yeah, homing like disco balls.
It's called Screamer launcher?
Yeah, like,
oh, that's what that is.
Yeah, it's screaming, homing rockets that basically drain the life around them. And whenever they scream, it gives a huge burst of damage all around them. So the thing is, that gun has a super long cooldown. But the game forgets anything about cooldowns if you drop a weapon.
Of course.
So basically, you backhand Murrow across the face. He falls down, so you shoot a Hell Rocket in his face. You drop the gun. You pick it back up. You shoot another one. And basically, you just keep backhanding him across the face and then shooting and dropping your gun and shooting and dropping your gun until there's like 4 or 5 Hell Rockets just circling around him, and then he dies. And that's my favorite thing to do. That's how you beat the ninja too. You just jump on top.
You gotta be careful though, because if you do it too close to Kanoko, won't it also annihilate you too? If it's damaging some enemy, but you're like on top of it too, you'll just get blown up.
Yes, you have to keep it's tricky, but it's my favorite thing to do because I'm just gonna like fill the air with Hell Rockets that just kill everything, and then Murrow dies, and you get like a final like the camera pans off, and you get to see one single image that shows like people and like parents and children like screaming, running, firemen and like police officers trying to like help, like keep tabs on what's happening. The TCTF buildings exploding because basically you detonated every city in the world. You made all of the atmospheric conversion centers where next to cities explode. And there's a final anime cutscene because this game has like a start and an anime cutscene because of course it does. That kind of shows like, okay, world is really messed up right now, but we get to choose our own future. Everyone's gonna have to embrace the chrysalis, but at least we can like distribute it. So humanity is going to evolve to survive in this world we've messed up. And that's kind of bleak.
It's kind of bleak, and it is it's weird to have this game have this weird, like almost environmentalist message at the end when it just so didn't care about story for 90% of it.
Its heart was there in some of the places. But yeah, but how do you describe Oni? Well, Oni is about a police officer who, on her first field assignment, murders a few hundred criminals with her bare hands and then explodes every single city in the world.
Yep.
But hero protagonist of the game.
Yep. That's her first assignment. That's on her first day. That's what she does.
That I would describe it as some people in Bungie North, I guess, watched a lot of Ghost in the Shell. They really enjoyed. They took the rule of 3. They said that this is the rule for all game design. Just whatever it is, 3. And they really enjoyed like the design to aliens. They thought that what if a couple characters look like that?
Yeah, it's like when I run it, I love it because it's fun to play. Mechanically, the combat is really cool. It's fun, at least on PC. Like it's engaging. I'm slowly getting better at it. People who are wrestling fans in my chat will let me know what wrestling moves enemies are using on me. That's always like really a cool part of it.
The grave digger. Oh.
Yeah, pretty much.
The tombstone.
Let me throw out a rock bottom now too.
Yeah. Also like just a quick question. Who here finished it?
I beat the game.
How long did that take you? Just about.
I don't know, like I was playing it really sporadically over the course of a couple weeks, so this was all while Gino was doing honeymoon jazz and we were just auto-releasing podcasts, so I had like a month to play to play this game. I don't know how long it took me.
Okay, so give me an idea, like
a ballpark, maybe like, I don't know, 10, 12 hours?
Yep, that's about, like, yeah. My first speedrun of it was 6 hours. My second was 4. And now I'm on on my 23rd attempt. I got a new personal best. I'm doing it in 1:32 now.
Hour and a half.
An hour and a half to beat this game. There's so much of it you can skip, and it turns into like this great. It makes this great big fight story of like beating the Syndicate and saving the world into basically Konoko running from terminal to terminal, going, "Can't talk, bye," and just like rushing through everything.
That probably makes the story make more sense, because it makes it actually like a really rough first day on the job if you can beat the game in an hour and a half. It makes it feel like the time actually makes a little more sense that way. Because I played this game over the course of like 2 weeks, and I was like, man, what an introduction to a new job. If this is training week, man, rough.
Yeah, pretty.
Now, I have something that I want to fight back on against a little bit, Zandra, because when you said that the combat is something that you get better at, I actually found the game to be hyper repetitive. And now, you don't know this about me, Zandra, but I'm affectionately referred to as the grind father on this podcast.
The level of affection varies depending on what we're discussing.
But for whatever reason, when I play a game, I like to just like exploit everything and break everything, but not in a speed running kind of sense all the time. He just wants
to have the most, whatever it is.
Yeah, okay.
I just want to go to level 11 on like everything. So I don't know if this is like, you probably did some of this too, Zandra, but I just stopped using guns because throws just were better.
They're dry.
Oh yeah, but most of my combat is me kicking people in the face and throwing them into other people.
So you can just ignore them. They both get knocked down and you just run away. But
the grenade launcher is very useful in some places because it knocks a bunch of people down so I can keep running.
There's also that super long range laser, laser sniper.
Yes, the Mercury bow.
That basically one shots anything up until the last level of the game.
I love that weapon. It's so ridiculous because basically what it does, it's a railgun that shoots a thin arrow of frozen mercury.
What an elaborate
because
explanation.
Because the description of it says
it's unlimited.
Yeah, it's a hitscan weapon. Basically, it shoots. The description says, "Oh yeah, it's made that way because it's like super powerful, and once it hits someone, then if the impact doesn't kill them, then mercury poisoning will." And then I realized, hey, you read up on how mercury poisoning actually works? That's not how that works. It leads to dementia and like other things if you keep taking it over a long period of time.
But there's this
I like the concept, but
they gunnified it, so it's okay.
Yeah, they gunnified it.
There's this other metal that's also very poisonous to people. It's called lead. It's really good.
Though just didn't sell well.
We use it for these instruments to kill people. They're called bullets. We use them for a really long time. You don't have to freeze lead. At room temperature. It's
very hard.
It's solid.
It's very hard.
Yep. I think in this entire game, I shoot windows more often than people.
So when I played this game, my runtime, I'm sure, was extended because I wanted to go run behind every corner, and most of the time I'd find some like cowering worker who just give me a hypo or give me like an invis upgrade.
Yeah, they're great.
But if you just go basically the opposite direction the game tells you to go, somebody's going to be there to give you like some ammo clips or something like that. I was
smoking over here, and I also have bullets.
Yep. Like, hi, you can use this ammo clip. Like,
you need it.
Science prison.
Take it.
Here's invisibility.
What were all of these people doing with hypodermic needles and bullets?
Or invisibility powers.
Powers. Force fields.
Yeah, why would you... Yeah, okay. I was thinking, okay,
some of them are scientists. Some of them are scientists.
let's do the thing where we make where everything has to make sense. So high pose maybe in this world, like, oh, these med hypos are just, that's the thing. That's the new and improved medical kit. Like, yeah, you just have them because if you get hurt working on the docks or whatever, you just and you're good. So might as well have one. So well, here, you're obviously in a hurry.
Here, take mine.
Yes, you have blood on your hands. Kanoko changes outfits all the time, which I love.
It's ostensibly because blood, though.
Yeah, pretty much. Because
let me just look in my lunch pail. Oh yeah, that's my sandwich, my thermos, and my wife packed me a hypo today. Thanks, honey.
Yeah. Or like, why would you have a force field? Why would you have that?
Just in case. I want to get home to see the kids tonight, so I'll make sure I pack my force field just to make sure.
Somebody comes in and starts snapping necks.
Yeah, like I'm just collecting. Like you have this backpack full of spines. I'm gonna give you this. I would like to keep my spine. Goodbye.
What? So basically, until like the last 2 levels of the game, where enemies start having like super armor and packing rockets, I just run up to guys, throw them, and then that's when I might use my gun. Like, just shoot them while they're getting up because it's easy pickings. I'm actually terrible at shooter games. So if there's not an immobile disabled target, I probably can't hit them. Once I stopped being able to get close to people because they would rocket launcher me or something and I died, I would just start doing the serpentine. And
you just run around.
I probably could have just done that from the start of the game, but I had to collect all the spines. So that was my experience.
When I was young, I used to play this game, giving myself challenges. Like, I did a hard mode no healing run. I did a hard mode no shooting ever run, and it's just like, I never thought to go for speed. That would have.
Do you jump kick out the windows then? Like, do you?
Oh no! I would just like never actually interact with windows. And just like find ways around them. That was way back. That was like when I was a kid, and I just didn't think about the speed. But now with the speed, gosh, that's fun. It's really it's great to get better at this weird game.
Yeah, question: Is this your favorite game, Zandra?
The question of the favorite game is also really, really... It's always really weird with me because my favorites change over time. There's like... This has a place in my favorite games, alongside Mega Man 2 and Final Fantasy 6, and probably like Picross 3D, because gosh, that game is like therapeutic in just how wonderful it is. But yeah, there is a hall of favorites, and Oni is definitely in it, because that's I love playing this game a lot.
Because your art style on some of the posters, it is anime inspired, but in the Oni kind of way.
Yep, it's that game like affected me a lot when I was younger, and it's like like when I did the first poster for Paximania 2, I did a Bubblegum Crisis parody. Because like I got the chance, like, heck yeah, I'm gonna do Cyberpunk, sure,
of course.
And like there's one person who was really into Bubblegum Crisis who really got a kick out of that poster, and the one person in the world who got like all these tiny references noticed it. I'm like,
excellent.
Yeah, I love Cyberpunk. I wrote for Shadowrun back in the 3rd edition as freelancer, so like Cyberpunk has had a piece of my heart for a while.
Very cool.
So that ended up being like my one critique of Oni, which was the repetition of the game made it a little bit less fun, because in all the other games where I talk about combat mechanics, I always reference the combat of the game rewarding a player who tries to get good. Like, the game gets more fun the better you are at its combat mechanics, and I will throw out games like Valda's Story and Fury, like we've talked about on the podcast before.
Game of the Year, Valda's Story.
Yeah,
first time you've ever made that reference, Gino. Hey, nice. Glad Pete and I have finally got that into your head so much that we've got it. But I wish that we had something like that for Oni, because I think it had potential to shine here. I noticed that I kept getting combat upgrades as the game went on. I just never thought I just needed the throw and the neck snap, and then that's all you need.
I mean, you do have like those special moves. There's just no good reason to do them because the damage.
Flying spin kick.
Yeah, I forgot the name. Like the
damage difference isn't enough.
The thing is, one of the most damaging moves you can do is when you tap crouch and punch at the same time. You will do a forward double punch, that is the single most powerful move you can do, aside from the backbreaker. So you knock someone down, you do the double punch, and then you break their backs.
Oh, no.
That's what you have to do.
It's the ultimate fighting style.
The lariat I really love because it's easy to do, and you basically like just take a ride around someone's neck and like hurt them a lot.
Twister kick.
That's not the twister kick. Twister kick is impossible to do. That's actually not the name of the. Yeah, I think we're seeing the same page. Some of the names are wrong.
I just don't understand why. Like, it's got this elaborate combo system.
Devil spin kick. Yeah, that's one's super useful because if you're surrounded, you can do it while you're getting up, and you throw everyone away. And the Rising Fury Punch is
because she's also Chun-Li. You can just do that high spinning bird kick, and you're good to go.
And the Rising Fury Punch is like a spinning uppercut, but it also punches when you come back down, so you can hit people twice with it. What? So those I will sometimes use just when I'm like, against Muro, I will use that because I have 2 chances to knock him on his back. And then I can just like fill his mouth with hell rockets.
Nice.
This game...
I will agree, even now I've played this game like dozens of times. Sometimes combat kicks my ass, and I will get frustrated because, like, oh well, these enemies just decided to stun lock me. There's the silly string laser that just sends out a really long, like, undulating string. An enemy can decide to just stand and shoot you, and it will knock you down, and keep knocking you down. And the weapon has like so much ammo. There's nothing you can do.
It will just keep getting gun too.
Yep. If you have a
stun gun,
if you have a force shield, it does nothing. If you don't, you get stunned, and then they get to hit you, and then when you get back up, they stun you again. Some of the weapons are kind of
broken?
Unfair. Yeah, that's the word for it. That's the word for it.
Yeah, the Uzi is not. I mean, the Uzi, it's not unfair, but like when you get run up on, if you get knocked down and someone just unloads a clip of Uzi because you were down, you're dead. Over. It's like it does so much damage.
Yep, the pistol. I'm really scared of folks with the pistol because that's a weapon that the shots go really quickly, and someone with a full clip can like get me into real trouble health-wise. And a lot of this game is about health management, about like being able to like overheal so you can like do skips and speedruns and just have enough health to make it to some parts. But yeah, like folks with pistols are the ones that scare me a lot. And of course, like the grenade launcher, because
the grenade launcher.
They can one-shot you if they hit you with it. If they don't, then it just sends a cluster of explosions all around you, and it's the worst. I hate science prison so much.
It's not what you want.
You don't want to be in the science prison.
That's where the bad stuff is.
Get a good lawyer for science court.
But yeah, despite that, I like this game a lot.
This game's got heart. There are so many moments where I was just like, this could have been a better game. If just a little bit had gone either way on, like, maybe if there were a couple more enemy types, maybe if the combo system, you could chain, like, link some attacks together in a more noticeable way, maybe if there was a good reason to use throws other than the backbreaker, there doesn't seem to be.
Yeah, like my friend Moom said, like, the reality is, it's a miracle this game was made at all.
Yes. This is a game that actually was on my list of games to play right there next to Sonic Chronicles: The Dark Brotherhood, because there's a lot of games that
prestigious list.
It is a prestigious list that I just want to know, how did this happen? Who greenlit this? How did this get funded? How did people spend multiple years of their lives making this specific vision? I can understand that like something with this description would have been appealing to someone, but how did it come out this way? And this game it's got some moments where I was just like, I like what's happening right now. And then there were other moments where it was just, why 3 terminals? Why not one?
I think, for me, the game design was, like, I like the game design. Level design left something to be desired. And from what I understand, there was a lot of corners cut because they were, like, really, like, the development was strained near the end. So
wasn't there a level like that in Psychonauts, Gino, like a meat level?
Yeah, the meat circus, the last level of Psychonauts, they ran out of I think they ran out of budget and time, and so they had to put it together really quickly. And so there are multiple parts of that level where, like, the camera just doesn't follow correctly, or, like, characters' mouths don't animate the way they should, and there's a bunch of glitches in that level, too. Like, the last level of Psychonauts is a mess, and it's because of budget stuff.
Yeah, like, to its credit, Oni doesn't have that many, like, just straight-up glitches. Sometimes the, like, waypoint will be weird if you don't do exactly what the game expects you to. But other than that, it's pretty solid, which is, like, remarkable.
Except for the part where you move the camera and the level disappears and you jump through a wall. But other than that...
Yeah. That's exploit territory. Like, the average player will never get into these situations because those situations are, like, out of the way.
Yeah,
but they're you need to explore, which, like, to the game's credit, like, yeah, they put up some fences, but sometimes you can find a couple of boxes stacked up that let you jump over the fence.
Yeah, and it's not a problem that the game is broken. The problem is more like it's bland in spots, or it's got some archaic design.
It's kind of vanilla.
Yeah, there's maybe 5 chairs in the entire world.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it's a dystopian future. You know, they had to burn the chairs for fuel, and that's all they have left.
There's the level where you're having an argument with Griffin right before heading off to the atmospheric conversion center. You're in a strange room with 2 couches, a bare desk, and no chairs. Like, where is this? Does Griffin just, like, stand in front of this bare desk all day?
They got hit by the Syndicate.
He's got 2 modes.
That's it.
Couch lounging and desk hovering. That's all he does.
Yep.
Syndicate anti-chair bomb, really devastating. Also, I guess the TGIF, they developed a bomb that ignores ribbons. It blows up everything else, but ribbons are...
The bomb survives, ribbon survives. But if we learn anything from Final Fantasy, ribbon resists everything. So
that's accurate. Maybe that's the reason. So, without any further ado, I think that's Oni.
Yep, gosh, I love that game. That weird game, but it's got heart.
You can check it out for very cheap. I assume that there are more Blockbuster videos that they just, like, all their copies seem to be on Amazon, so you can find those.
Yeah, it's not on any sort of online platform. You have to track down the CD for the PC version or for the PS2 version, and that's it. Also, if you manage to find the box, I lost mine. It's like a very cardboard, metal, shiny box. I already have the CD. If someone finds the box, I will buy it from you because I would like to have that as a memento. It's a really cool box.
And Billy. Yeah, oh, wait. And if you want to get in touch with the show, remember at DeepListensPod on Twitter, deeplistens.libsyn.com, and deeplistenspodcast@gmail.com. Billy, pick for our next podcast. What are we doing?
All right. Again, it's become my MO to just use this as an outlet to clear out my incredibly long Steam library backlog.
That's fair.
Of just really awesome games that I want to have fun playing. So this is where I get to actually pick games that I want to play now. But we're going to play...
Gino's pick?
No, it's not Gino's pick. Because after you go, I go.
Yeah, no, I'm saying we got to play fun games.
Yeah, that it's not... Now that's not Gino's pick. We're going to play a game called...
We'll play Final Fantasy 9.
Final Fantasy 14, guys.
We're going to form a guild.
There's going to be one podcast where I drop Dirge of Cerberus on you guys, and you're going to have... That's going to be it.
I'm sing a dirge myself.
I have my copy ready for when you say that.
I'm sure there's a walkthrough on YouTube I can find.
The next podcast game that we're going to play is called Dust and Elysian Tale.
Oh, okay. I had that. I actually just uninstalled that from my computer like a week or 2 ago because I was like, I'm never playing that game as much as I feel bad about not playing it. But now
that is a really good game, and also happens to be a game made primarily by one person, but not entirely by one person, just primarily by one person, and it's pretty amazing.
Why don't you repeat that title again slowly?
Yeah, it's called Dust and Elysian Tale.
Okay. How do you spell tail?
If you Google Dust and it's going to autocomplete.
All right.
So, it is tail like a tail, not T-A-L-E. Okay. I see what you're
doing. Like an animal tail.
Because it's a furry game.
Yep. And
like a fairy game? Fairy game?
No,
I mean,
like they're
more excited about it now.
Anthropomorphic animals, and they're all adorably animated, and everyone looks amazing, and it's so cool, and
So,
it's cute.
Pete, what you can expect from this game is the marriage between Child of Light and Valda's story.
Okay.
Weirdly enough,
Imagine like Valda's
With
story
cute animals,
combat.
though?
Yeah, but like imagine just Valda's story fighting, Child of Light aesthetics, but just throwing everything furry and cute.
Nice.
Also,
And that's
there's genocidal
that's where we're going.
discussion. I think that game also gets real heavy. So
That game gets heavy.
weirdly enough, Pete, believe it or not, Billy has picked an isometric kind of Metroidvania game
What?
with
What?
action combat.
Side scroll.
Have we ever played one of
It is
those before?
Oh, side scroll.
God, you mean like I like games that are fun to play and good? Oh,
No,
shit.
you don't. We've seen your past picks. You don't like those sorts of games.
What? Wait,
So
Pete, didn't you pick Ori and the Blind Forest, which is also a great game, but also
Yeah, I picked
isometric and
not isometric,
and-
side scrolling. I missed both.
side scroll? Whatever.
If you want to play a good isometric game, you should play Landstalker at some point. And if you do, I would love to be there because it's one of my favorite Uncanny Valley games that comes from an alternate universe. Landstalker. It's let me know if you ever do this one because that's such a weird game.
We'll have you back on the show for sure.
All right.
Yes. And
Awesome.
Before we sign off, Xander, is there anything you would like to plug or anything you would like to shout out?
Yes, absolutely. If you want to see what I'm up to, I am always on Twitter at Zandra Vandra. Also, I do like a bunch of stuff. I'm a game dev. I do game design, writing. I also do lots of art and merch. I'm working on a comic right now. I also stream and do speedruns. I'm at twitch.tv/ZandraVandra. And if you would like to see what I do and support me, because I have no income otherwise, go to patreon.com/ZandraVandra. And that's where you get basically early access and exclusive things on all the weird stuff I make. And also I don't mean this as any sort of competition, but I am starting a podcast soon, and I'm pretty stoked about it.
Sweet, I'm available. We are all available if you need podcast
Cool.
guests.
Yeah, it should be up start to get up relatively soonish. It's called Oh My Gosh, and it's basically me and a guest just talking about something the guest is passionate about for like half an hour, and just like being really excited about something, and then in the second half, we share life advice and answer listener questions. So, like, my first guest is going to be Taylor Epperly, who's like a senior game designer at Ubisoft Red Storm, also a speedrunner, going to talk about speedrunning, and then we're going to share life advice about anxiety, working in games, and stuff like that. So that's basically I'm going to be recruiting people who have something cool they want to share, and also life advice they want to give folks, because I feel everyone has something they can be passionate about, and everything has learned stuff that could help someone else. So that's expect that in some form of wherever like podcasts are listened to. I guess it's going to be on iTunes. I guess. I hope. Maybe. I don't know. I'm gonna see how this works because I'm new to this.
You can ask Gino about where to just like throw up podcasts on the cheap, because
cool.
That's
You want
how
to
we
build
do
the
it.
Finished listenership too. You just let us know.
And I can,
God,
awesome.
I can ask you about how to make money off of things, because goodness knows.
We are coming up on a hot 2 years very
In the
soon.
red.
Oh gosh.
Look, the investment will pay off, guys. Don't worry about it.
I think it's like
It
May
better.
15th or 16th is the
A
Deep
lot of
Lessons
my
birthday.
finances are riding on this lottery ticket.
Good to know. And on that note, thank you, listeners. Thank you, Xandra, for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you, Billy.
Thanks everybody for tuning in. I look forward to playing Dust and Elysian Tale. It's going to be a lot of fun. Maybe I'm casting myself a mold of what games I like to play, but fuck it. I'm trying to have fun. At least once every 6 weeks, I get to have fun.
That's fair. And thank you, Pete.
Always a pleasure. Gino abandoned us for a little while to spend time with his, wife and everything.
I'm sorry.
But we have him back. His priorities are back in order. We're happy to be back at it.
It's accurate. And thank you, listeners. We are back. We will be back on our regular schedule now. Hopefully we should have some weirdness soon. All right. Thank you, listeners. Till next time, peace.